using computer audio. We'll try that again. This is January 1st, January 18th, 2018, and this is the ITSE 2309 at Collin College from the labs at Collin College. This will be typically how you will access the recording for this particular show. You won't see me working, you will see the screen, and I believe we have the screen up. So you have to bear with me today. We're going to test it. Today is the test and making sure that everything's working. Unfortunately, I have a wire tether, so I'm not used to speaking from in my seat, but I'm going to have to do that today because I have to be here. Excuse me. The department is supposed to get me a wireless microphone here in the next couple of weeks where I can move around some. For right now, this one gives me pretty good sound. Let's see. This particular class is the Thursday night section. How many of you are actually in the online section? 1, 2. That's fine. The fact that you're in the online section doesn't mean that you can't be here. My students swap around a lot. So for those of you who are in the online section, it really doesn't matter. You're going to get the same thing. It is exactly the same class. So you're going to hear the same lecture. You're going to do the same thing. My students tend to go back and forth fairly frequently. And you may. I'm going to go to the Canvas. I'm going to go to Firefox. That seems to work better here for some reason. And I'm going to go into Canvas. I say I am. Maybe too many of us are hitting it at once. There we go. We must all be hitting it at once. Well, I was going to go through the syllabus with you, but I've already actually recorded a syllabus orientation. And the syllabi today run 8 or 9 pages, and there's no real reason for a syllabus to run 8 or 9 pages because that's a whole lot more stuff than you really wanted to read. Syllabus really should run 1 page and should just be short, sweet, to the point. And my short, sweet, to the point lesson about my syllabus is I do not drop students. I do not drop students. If you just disappear, I'm not going to drop you. Okay, so you have to take care of that one yourself. Guess it's going to be a little slow. I hope there was an unexpected error. Please refresh the current page. Let me do F5 and see what happens. I hope this doesn't continue because I did have in mind doing something today. But I'm going to talk a little bit about it. I have 3 sections. All 3 sections of this class are exactly the same. They will have the same assignments, the same due dates. So we'll talk about due dates here for another second. So when is stuff due in my classes? Stuff is due in my classes when you get it done. I put a due date on it, but the due date is an advisory thing. I have worked it several ways. I have tried it with kind of a contract thing. Do students want to have like the carrot and the stick thing, where I give you Benny points for getting it in on time, or penalty points if you don't? Students will overwhelmingly take the carrot and the stick, but it doesn't change their behavior any. So I adopt the idea of, I am not your parent. This is not high school. So when you get it turned in is when you get it turned in. If your code is late getting turned in, it will probably be late getting graded. That's just the way it goes. I'll typically grade it shortly after the due date. And if you're late turning it in by a week or so, don't bother me about when I'm going to grade it. I'll grade it. Yes, I'll grade it. Yes, you won't have penalty points for it. Okay, I'll get to it. Just don't bug me. The other thing is that my grade book, my grade roster is set such that if a program or an assignment is not turned in, it just isn't counted. It doesn't count it as zero. The reason I do it that way is I don't want you bugging me going, oh, my grade's low. Hurry up and grade that thing so I don't have a zero. Because as soon as it passes the due date, it goes to zero until I get it graded and enter a grade. And I don't feel like being the one making you have a D when you ought to have an A. So I just set it not to grade it. Now, what this means is that if you don't have stuff turned in, that's your problem for knowing that and for checking that. Okay. Now I can check it, but you can also check it on Canvas. It'll show you what you have due that you haven't turned in. If you've turned it in and I just haven't graded it yet, particularly if you turned it in a little late, or even if you didn't, it's okay. The syllabus, there are no dates on it as of now, but there will be dates. When I assign a program, I will put a due date on it. If there's no due date on it, then I haven't assigned it yet. So if you don't see a due date, you can ask me if you think it's assigned. Go ahead and ask me. I'll try to hide the ones that I'm not going to assign. Some of them I just won't assign. I haven't put a due date on it because this is the first time I've seen your smiling faces. I guess I'll put a due. Lots of times I won't put due dates on discussions and quizzes. Okay, those things, I have to have those quizzes in there because I have to certify the class. In order to certify the class, I have to have quizzes and graded discussions and all that stuff. I'm not real enthusiastic about those little multiple guess, multiple choice thing. You can take them as many times as you want to. Take them until you make 100, and that's fine. I typically don't put due dates on quizzes because I don't want to fool with it. Those are just do them, but don't worry too much about them. You can take them as many times as you want to. That's not a big deal. The quiz, the exercises at the end of each module are the ones that I typically grade, and those are usually worth a total of 40 points. Is the way I think the way I have built them. Okay, well, I see I finally got Canvas up. Let's see if I can finally get to it. Let's see, this particular section is P70. If you are in the WWW class, it's this one. You shouldn't even see this one if you're in the WWW class. I'm going to go to the syllabus. Microsoft Word. Let's see if he opens. Database programming. Yes, this is the right one. It's 6 p.m. to 9:50. I will typically begin right on time. And at 6 o'clock, we will have a break about 6:50, 6:45, 6:50. I will give you a break. We'll take 10. I can only go about an hour before I need a break. And I can imagine you feel the same way. Then at 7:45 or so, we're going to wrap her up and we will go to lab. Okay. And the question was asked if I am if an online student, how can you ask questions? At 7:45, I will be available for questions. I'll probably turn the audio on, given that I can figure out how to do that correctly on Zoom, so that I can hear you speak. Some people don't have microphones on their computer. Zoom is a third-party software, and I will talk about how you get that. You just go to Zoom, and I believe I put that in my email, what my Zoom URL is. There's a URL that you can follow, and you can get to it live. And if you don't get to it live, there is a Canvas, there'll be a Canvas link to the YouTube recording. So I'm making a YouTube recording right now. And you'll be able to access that, and if you're not physically present at this time. You're frowning at me. Okay. There's a URL that you can follow where you can, now I'm worried that if everybody, and I don't think you have speakers on your machine. So, but I have been in rooms where we had speakers and then immediately we get lots of feedback. I don't think you have speakers. I think here you just have to listen to me. But at home, if you have speakers and a microphone on your machine, you can hear what I have to say. And then when we go to lab, I will cut in my participants are allowed to talk. Right now, you're not. Let me get through this thing, student skills. This should not be your first programming class. This should not be your first computer class. You should have taken a computer class before this. I'm not going to worry about which computer class. Because SQL is probably unlike any other language. I really can't compare it to C++ or to Java or to Visual Basic effectively. It is really radically different. So I'm not going to worry about which one. Just you should have done some programming. You should have done some program troubleshooting. Those same skills will help you. Attendance policy is if you have logged into Canvas, I will see when you log into Canvas. No, I won't see when you log into Canvas. I will see when you access pages in my particular class. Okay. In general, if you are up to date, meaning within reason, you are attending the class. If this has anything to do with, Veterans Administration is pretty fussy about that sort of stuff. Texas Workforce, things like that. So some of you are required to attend, some aren't. There is roughly the format we will follow. More. This is the real course syllabus. This one page here is really what you need to know. I don't drop students. I don't have, my due dates are soft. This doesn't mean I don't have due dates. It means that they are, I'm not your parent. I don't want to be the cop. Okay. So I don't enforce a policy of taking points or passing grade away from you if you're, now that said, at some point during the semester, if you haven't turned in assignment 1, I'm going to declare it dead. But it won't be in a week. It won't even be in 2 weeks. Okay. So you really don't have to kill your grandmother just because you're a little late on an assignment. That's fine. Canvas gradebook does not count late assignments as 0 particularly. Look at that one. Unfortunately, this kind of lulls people into a false sense of security. If they are behind on assignments, they'll see that they have a grade of 90 when they've only turned in 2 out of 8 assignments. And the Canvas is showing, my grade's 90. I've had people come back on me and, but I had a 90 and you gave me a D. No, it's up to you to know that if you haven't turned it in, it just doesn't get counted. Recorded lectures, you won't see me talking. If you want to see me, you got to come to class. Here is my meeting ID. My meeting right now should be 2857352217. Somebody go to zoom.com and see if you can log in. I believe I have that one in progress. And somebody's going to bring me a computer. And yeah, okay. Okay, this host has another. Please. That's a good question. Am I logged in? I'm quite sure that I believe I am recording. Okay. We will try to troubleshoot that. I'm pretty sure I'm recording. Because I see I have pause recording, stop recording. So I'm recording on this computer. Uh, 985, what was the question? Yeah, what is that? 137101124? Try that. That works? Does that get you to, does that show you me? Or does that show you, do you see this screen at 137-101? Yes, it works. Okay, I'll try to get that trouble shot. Okay. Meanwhile, the recording will be out there on Canvas. Okay. And I should get it out there within by the end of class, because at the time it's been my experience that people in this class do not typically hang around late at night for the lab, but you may. I'm not telling you to run out the door like it's a fire drill. But given that it's online, I will also have another time that I will be available for lab, and that is from noon to 2 o'clock, and that I will not be Zooming that class, but from noon to 2 o'clock on Fridays, I will be available on Canvas. Okay. I'm sorry, ma'am, what is your name? Okay, it is not important that you log in here. This will be recorded and placed on Canvas, so you may view it at your leisure. Are you in the face-to-face class or the online class? Fine. If those of you who are in the face-to-face, if you miss a class, the class will be available on Canvas. Question?
Earlier on, I was looking. I noticed the PDF is a different version. It has a different book and like a different class date.
The PDF. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's. I guess I didn't bring the correct syllabus is the Word syllabus, not the PDF syllabus. I'm sorry. I'll get that fixed. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. If it looks like an old date, it is. I've been teaching this class for a long time. Other questions? Okay, the textbook. Textbook looks like this. I'm holding the textbook up. It is Mahooks. I think that's one of those words that the English tongue has a problem saying. Where the SQL Server 2016 for developers. If you happen to be in a half-price bookstore and you see this one, I was just in a half-price bookstore today, and they happened to have this one for 10 bucks. Okay, what is it? 2012. Yes, you may use it. Okay, it's pretty much the same book. A little bit different, but you won't find it to be enough different that it'll stop you from using it. So you can use either of them. Recommend the 2016. Don't pay full price for a 2012. Questions on the syllabus? Time are we? Good. We're about the right time. Okay, I'm going to close the syllabus. This is a sample assignment. I'll talk more about how to turn stuff in. On your desktop should look something like this. By the way, you can get the syllabus. You can get the textbook is available for rent online, and lots of times my students do that. They rent the ebook. We excuse me. We are going to be using the textbook, so you'll need some kind of a copy, either an older edition. 2012 is fine. Don't go earlier than 2012. That's too old. Or an ebook or the paper textbook, whichever you like. Now, this is here is your screen, and you should see a folder there that says SQL class. You see a folder on your desktop that says SQL class. Well, let's open that folder. There are 2 files in there. Yes, you may copy them. Yes, you may take them home. You can and should copy them to your personal computer. Those are the ones you want. Okay, these are the install files. The first one is a hook that downloads some more stuff. I'm going to go ahead and double click that one, and you may go with me. Go ahead and double click that one on your computer, and if you have your personal computer, copy it over and double click it on your personal computer. They're not on Canvas, they're on the desktop of the class computer. Well, it's time. Do you want a flash drive or something? It's handy to have a flash drive. I have one in my pocket if you need one. Yes? You have one? Cool. And as you can see, I am we have SQL Server 2016 with Service Pack 1 Express Edition. If you go out to the internet land and you search for SQL Server 2016 with Service Pack 1 Express Edition, you will find it, and you may download it, and it is free. Well, it is the student version, which is provided to you at no cost. Your installation type will be basic. You can do the download media, and that will download the install file. I'm going to select basic and download across the network. And of course, we'll have to agree to the license. If we don't accept, then we don't go very far. The install location typically will take the default. That is going to go to program files. If you don't want it there, put it someplace else. And now I'm going to click, guess what? Install. And we will start. Questions? That was pretty easy, wasn't it? Actually, the install process here is just doing a basic install of SQL Server 2016 is pretty simple. Yes, sir. I see a hand. Okay, I'm going to take off the headset for a minute and go troubleshoot one. Which one? No, just your probably the first. Okay. Yeah, let's see. Well, you can. It is, but they switch out the if you see the download. Because I had to test it, so most of the ways experiences. Okay. What did you make? Okay, I make a recording of the lesson every day. So there, everything is recorded and will be on Canvas. Okay. So I'm going to test it to make sure it's on Canvas. And downloading and installing. I'll bring you up to speed. It's okay. Now, let me just briefly tell you a little bit about SQL while we're here. SQL, some people, you will hear it pronounced SQL from time to time. That's the same thing, SQL. Some people say it means simple query language. Some people say it means structured query language. And some people get in a big argument over whether the correct pronunciation is SQL or SQL. I will defer to whatever they think. Okay. It depends on where you took the language, where you first studied the language, and what your professor called it. Mine called it SQL. SQL, by computer science terms, is an ancient language. It's a little bit, with respect to computer science, it's a little bit like reading, I don't know, Old English, or a very ancient form of the written language to a computer programmer, because it doesn't act like any other programming language that is known to us today. Okay. SQL SQL began in the 60s. 1960 something, late 1960s. By 1970, it was beginning to be formalized. It was formalized by, I believe the person was Australian, gentleman named Boyce Codd, C-O-D-D, is the name that you hear a lot in database. So the structured query language gives you a way, I'm going to call it structured query language, gives you a way to write code. Now, how many of you have taken another programming language like C or Java? A few of us. Those of you who have taken C and Java and Visual Basic are used to writing code that says, what we call the imperative language, that says, do this, then do this, do A, then do B, then do C, and they will be executed in the sequence A, followed by B, followed by C. Well, that all goes out the window in SQL. SQL, you don't tell it how to find the answer. You specify what you want the answer to look like, and the runtime support system programs itself to go out and find you the answer. So in your programming language, you are specifying the answer you want to see, and then the SQL language programs itself literally. So it is literally an artificial intelligence language. You say, show me all of the people who were born after this date in, let's see, 2018, 1998, 1997. If they were born after this date, 1997, they are less than 21 years of age. Is that right? Show me all the people who were born after this date, 1997. Boom, you get your answer very, very quickly. Okay, very good at that. The other thing about database is that databases are typically very, very big. So a database is too big to fit on a disk, usually. You'll never see a database on a floppy disk or on a USB. I guess floppy disks have gone the way of the dodo bird, haven't they? But you won't see them anyway. Am I done yet? Okay. And I'm going to put that on hold here and go back to my screen. Make a note of what we say your instance name. It will probably be SQL Express. That is the default. If you have another one in there, you can have more than one instance. Then it would be SQL Express 1. Notice your SQL administrators. This is your username on this computer. Is electronic PRC is the name by which you are logged into this computer. We have installed the SQL engine. And we don't need to worry about the rest of this stuff. A computer restart is required to complete your installation, but I don't need to restart right now. I'll restart in just a minute. What time is it? Well, it's 6:44. Let me go ahead and install one. I'm going to say, yes, I want to exit. Now, I have two files there. I've done the first one. I need now to do the second one, and they're both going to require a restart. So instead of restarting twice, I'm just going to go ahead and install the second one. It's okay to do it that way. I wouldn't. You probably could. The question was, can you run them parallel? I just wouldn't. Click install to begin. Now, what we installed, the first one was what we called the database engine. The first one was the database. This one is the user interface. This one is the little graphical user interface that lets me see my tables and stuff. So unlike Access, how many of you have had the class in Access ITSW 1300? I'm sorry. 1307, yes. I'm so sorry. You didn't really have to have taken that. In Access, how many of you have used Access? Most of us have used it, unfortunately. In Access, it's all together, so the graphical user interface and the database are the same thing. Here, they're two different things, and in most real databases, you have the database engine, and then you have a graphical user interface that talks to the database engine, and that's typical, is the way it's done. So we're now installing the graphical user interface. Now, as soon as this installs, we will need to restart. And that'll be fine. We'll just restart, and I will cut off the recording and then start the recording again. So we'll have two recordings for this class, but that's okay. Any problems on the install other than going okay? Did you get yours installed? Okay. I have them on a flash drive. I can give you the files for your tablet. What's up? Are you on a tablet? Which version? They should have gone straight to the correct one. Okay, I'm going to take the headset off for just a second and check on some things here. That's your install. It's going to go straight to the version. And then agree. You have a USB. I know. You have a USB
I will have one. No. I mean, when you said, I mean, it's probably, those links are going to do it.
They're a little bit too big to email. Yeah, I have it on the USB. Just because it has to have so many different possibilities, the file, the install file really is about 2 gig.
Oh, okay.
And that's just not attached to email or I think the limit is like the half gig.
Even if I did like my own, I log on my own. Or not me.
I don't know. See if it's got. Most of them have a limit.
Sure.
I mean, I have the files that you need. Yes. You may download yourself. You may go to. I gave you the URL in chapter 2 in module 2. It tells you where to go online to download it. So there isn't much difference in downloading it from the website and downloading it from your email. They're just about the same thing.
There's a Google Drive attached to your column email. You can drive into there. That's all it is.
Yeah. Okay. Overall progress. Okay, while this is downloading, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to end the recording. And it has some work it has to do to the recording. So we're going to take a break right now. I'm going to end the recording and I'll start again when this thing finishes after I have restarted. So it's going to tell me I have to restart the computer. So that's going to kill my recording anyway. So I'm going to end the recording now, and then I'm going to come back. I'm going to check and make sure that I'm getting a recording. That's always my fear. Okay, so ending recording now.